joking? Good morning!
She said, how could you joke?
So earlier this month, Apple released the new iPhone 14 lineup. And just like every iPhone before it,
These are the best iPhones we've ever created.
the iPhone 14 Pro is kind of awesome, with a lot of great returning features from its predecessors, obviously, but some awesome new additions that make this phone really stand out in today's market. The most immediately recognizable feature is the new Dynamic Island, the replacement to the notch. And while I made fun of it in the intro, it's a cool feature that nobody was really expecting. We knew far in advance that the 14 series would be ditching the notch, at least on the high-end models, but we had really only expected a change to the actual form factor. Just like the notch, the new pill and hole punch cutouts would have just been static holes in the display. But what we got was the opposite of static. The new setup has two cuts, the aforementioned pill and punch. The former houses the Face ID sensors, the dot matrix scanners that make Face ID work. And the punch houses the new wide-angle selfie camera, which gets autofocus for the first time this year. I don't really notice a difference compared to the 13 Pro in terms of focus, but there's apparently something better there. Who knows? But the most impressive part is what's around the island. The screen around these cutouts now morphs to display relevant information, generally about background tasks. If you're screen recording or using a hotspot, the icon will appear on the right side. If you're playing music, you're presented with an album cover on the left and a waveform on the right, which, if you notice, is color coordinated to match the album cover or thumbnail of the song or video that's playing. If you connect to AirPods, use Face ID or Apple Pay, there's also a new animation up there that lets you know what's going down, as opposed to the big cards that used to appear at the bottom of the phone. Also, in iOS 16.1, they added live activities, which includes things like live sports scores, Uber times, how long it'll take your Uber to show up at your destination, and a couple other fun features relating to deliveries, stuff like that show up live on your Dynamic Island so that you're always aware of what's going on when your phone is trying to notify you. This just got pushed out as of yesterday, out to the App Store developers, so soon enough it'll start showing up in other apps in really cool ways. Also, similarly to music, when you're on a phone call, a waveform will appear showing your voice, as well as the voice of the person on the other end, in opposing colors. Speaking of colors, the Pro models come in four: silver, gold, a new space black, and the new flagship color, deep purple, which I have right here. The 14 Pro Max also comes in a variety of storage options, ranging from 128 gigabytes to 1 terabyte. If you're really a professional and you intend to use this phone to the full extent of its Pro capability, then I would really recommend one of the higher level storage options. When recording in Apple ProRes, my device regularly tells me that I have a maximum of maybe 2 hours of recording time before I'm completely out of space, and I have the terabyte option. Speaking of ProRes, let's talk about those cameras. This year, the 14 gets the first megapixel upgrade in quite some time, with the wide-angle camera going from 12 to 48 megapixels. This allows for much better night shots, as well as taking higher resolution 8K photos when shooting with the new Pro RAW format. The other cameras got some minor tweaks and adjustments, but generally remain the same as the 13 Pro Max. If you have a 12 Pro or older, however, there are a few upgrades from the 13 and 14 that you're going to get in these phones. The macro camera allows for close-up perspectives of even the smallest of objects, and is greatly improved over the 13. Cinematic mode allows you to rack focus and adjust depth of field in your videos. Color profiles can be added to the camera, so you can edit your photos to your style automatically as you shoot them. And a hardware change, the telephoto camera on the 14 is 3 times, as opposed to the 12, which is a 2.5 times focal length. One other new feature, however, is action mode, which crops into the ultra-wide camera to allow you to digitally stabilize your video after you've shot it. So when you want to replicate things like an action camera, a GoPro. I scratched my laptop too. There's like a little, that's like significant for just dropping my phone an inch. It just made a dent in my laptop. So the iPhone 14 is a weapon, and you can use it to hurt those who've wronged you. That's so annoying. Okay, whatever, I'll just throw it in the trash, get a new one. Just throw it in the street, get it hit by a car. What was I saying? That's so annoying. I'll never unsee that. Oh, my wallet is full of so much cash. It's so nice.
It's a really nice wallet. Can I see it?
Oh, yeah, sure.
Thank you.
Hey, come back here. That being said, even in normal video modes, the regular optical image stabilization is quite good, accounting for most shaking and jittering and creating a smooth shot in most low-speed circumstances. And when you want to review this footage, you can do so on the brightest display that Apple has ever offered, up to 2000 nits peak brightness outdoors. That matches the new adventure-focused Apple Watch Ultra and supersedes the 1200 nit peak brightness on the iPhone 13 Pro. This makes the 14 Pro the brightest smartphone in the market today and lets it put up a damn good fight against even the brightest of summer days. Another new feature this year is the always-on display. When you set your phone down face up, your home screen, widgets, notifications, and time will still display. This is enabled by the new 2nd Gen ProMotion display, which can max out at 120 Hz and can go as low as 1, which is what it does in the always-on display. This always-on screen is different from what most are used to on Android phones that have had them in the past. It's much brighter and fully featured, but sometimes leave people thinking that they've left their phone on by accident because it's so bright. It's not the way most other companies would do an always-on display, but it certainly is the Apple way. As far as battery goes, I find that even with the always-on display turned on all the time, the phone will generally last all day pretty well, with relatively heavy usage, and does even better with it turned off. I've gotten this thing to last a day and a half with the display, always-on display, turned off, minimum brightness, not taking a lot of photos, not doing any navigation, any sports, and it can hold up for quite some time, especially overnight. If you forget to charge it, you're generally always going to have enough power in the morning to get yourself to work so you can plug in. The last few things I'll cover don't matter to most people, but Apple was dead set on making sure they were a key focus of their keynotes and advertising. The 14 series is the first iPhone to ditch the physical SIM card, adopting an eSIM-only design. This will eventually make room for more space in the phone, but as of now is really only the start of Apple setting trends it hopes the industry will follow through with. I personally haven't tried switching eSIMs very often. I have an eSIM in this device, obviously, but I haven't tried switching to a different device yet. Some have said that the process has gone very smoothly, and some have said it's been very complicated and full of hassle. So this likely depends on your provider and the way that they structure their eSIMs. And of course, if you're watching from another country, eSIM may not always be available. In fact, some other countries only have eSIM as far as I'm aware, and some countries don't have any. But in other countries, the phone still does come with a SIM card slot, as it is not universally accepted yet to not have a physical SIM. So the space is still there in the phone, just wasting space, but hopefully they will eventually fill it in with more battery, bigger camera, something like that. The 14 also features satellite connectivity so that you can communicate with emergency services even when stranded out in the middle of nowhere in some desert or mountain or something. This is only for the most adventurous, but is really something that most people won't ever touch. Because let's be honest, when was the last time you climbed a mountain? Finally, the new 14 series introduces car crash detection, along with the new Apple Watch Series 8 and Ultra. To test this feature, we had a carjacker slam his car into the back of ours while escaping from the police. And it actually didn't go off. It was a relatively minor incident, so it doesn't always work, but in serious crashes, it should. For instance, when this guy slammed into my car, I got pretty mad, so I punched my steering wheel 6 times, and then finally my watch decided to tell me it looked like I had been in a crash. So, it works. Sometimes, severe crashes, it will work, and it'll contact emergency services if you don't respond in 10 seconds. This is not limited to the Pro. It's available on the Series 8, the Watch Ultra, and all iPhone 14 models, including the 14, 14 Plus, 14 Pro, and 14 Pro Max. Drive safe out there. So after using it for a month, I'd say that all in all, the 14 Pro Max is a really solid phone. If you have a 12 Pro or older, I'd recommend at least considering it. There's a lot of new features in the cameras and that eye-catching dynamic island that's sure to get as much attention from other people as it demands from you. If you want to know more about the specs and features of this phone, then drop a comment to let us know, and we'll make an in-depth review down the line. Of course, be sure to like this video and subscribe, and stay tuned. Our Apple Watch Ultra and Watch Series 8 videos are coming very soon, plus a review of the new 2023 Tesla Model Y. I'm Michael Mangraviti at Laminar Media, and thanks for watching.